What's up, everybody? This is Michael from Detail in the Shadow. Just gonna wait a little bit for folks to trickle in here. What's up, everybody? If you're in here, drop me a comment. Let me know you're here. Yes, yes, sir. Once a few folks walk in here, we will get started for the day. Oh, that's what that means. What's up, Crytek? Yes, sir. That is the Blackbird. We're going to be doing a little bit of plane spotting today here at the Wright-Patterson National Air Force Museum. If you're in here, let me know you're here. If you are in here, let me know you're here. Drop me a like. This channel is Detail in the Shadow. My name is Michael. And I appreciate you hanging out with me today. We are going to do a little bit of plane spotting. You see this bad boy right here. Everybody's favorite. Everyone's favorite. Let me go ahead and extend this, get this away from my body a little bit. Yo, yo, yo. Josh Rowe 555. 3 days of darkness. Yo, yo, yo. Thanks for hanging out with me. Look at this. I mean, this is like one of my favorite places. One of my favorite places. So I'm gonna take the long way around here. And once we come back around, we'll get started. I mean, look at this piece of hardware. All right. We got 17976. Yes. We're gonna get there. Man, that is a good question, Josh Rowe. I haven't flown any. I'm a large gentleman. I don't even think I would fit in this bad boy. Unfortunately. You got your SRO back there. And you got your pilot up there. And these tips right here will reach upwards and past 600 degrees. Now you can imagine this pedo tube right here, how this piece of engineering is so amazing that this lead in, it probably was about 700 degrees. And if you can see right there, those little holes are taking measurements to send to the analog computer to keep this bad boy from a highly unstable aircraft to be stable. And one thing that other museums don't have is one of these, the heart of this bad boy. The Pratt & Whitney J58 turbojet. We got the J58, the compressor was a 9-stage axial flow single speed. The turbine was a 2-stage axial. Approximate weight, about 6,000 pounds, producing about 32,000 pounds of thrust with afterburn. And maximum altitude, we were way up there at 8,000 plus feet. Now this is a feat of engineering all by itself. Let me get a good angle here. The fuel was JP7. You could throw a cigarette in it and it wouldn't even burn. It was needed because this was basically a ramjet jet configuration. You can see right here these bypass tubes. Too much air and cooling was bypassed from the front housing to the rear of the housing. And you can see right here, this bad boy would expand, I don't know how many inches, but it was substantial. That's why you have these right here. Now, if you can imagine using exhaust gas for cooling, ran on military power, and then it would have TEBs, tetroethylene boron, to ignite the motor for the afterburn. And that is the J58. And one of the things that was real pivotal were these intake inlets that would move backwards and forwards about 6 inches to keep the harmonics of that engine perfectly. Because the shock, when you're going that fast, has to be tuned just like a highly tuned instrument. Because that's what it was, basically. If the shock was too far forward, it was bad. And if the shock was too far backwards, it was bad. So it needed to be held in a very specific area. And that was the purpose of these going in and out. And this is how you started this bad boy. They had 2 old Buick motors that they would inject the exhaust into to get those J58s started. So we have 17976 titanium and composite materials. Enzo, thank you for joining. And that's the exhaust outlet. That was tunable as well. A lot of the titanium that was used on this was procured from Russia, even though this thing main job was to keep an eye on Russia. Now, there was no weapons on this. This was a reconnaissance plane. It was actually a CIA plane that was operated by the Air Force. Now, let's take a quick look at this, because this is new. This is the Lockheed 21B. CIA experiment unsuccessful. It was a drone from a mothership of the SR-71. Yo, B2-2880. Yo, 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 how you doing? Now, this one's new. So this was a drone. Yo, Argon, 1148, how you doing? How you doing? We are plane spotting today. I am Michael. This channel is Detail in the Shadow. Go ahead and drop me a sub. It's absolutely free. Now, we're still talking about the SR-71 because now these snoots were interchangeable for different missions. A lot of times, this is where all the reconnaissance information was gathered. There was this whole thing, this whole magnificent airplane was here just to take pictures of Russia. Other things, but there was one goal. Cold War, keep an eye on Russia. Now, if we look up here, let me take a step back. We have a real U-2. Now, when you talk about high flying, you have to talk about the Dragon ladies. No, I'm not in DC. I'm in Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. I'm going to brag on Ohio a little bit. Ohio has what DC doesn't have. Because I've been to the Smithsonian in DC, a magnificent museum. But we have a lot of things that they don't go. But let's go over here, because I want to show you guys something very specific. Now, like I said, we're standing underneath a U-2 Dragon lady, and unfortunately, one of them got shot down, and that brought about the whole need for the SR-71. So these are basically, you're just one step from being a full astronaut. Well, you're not that close to the Kármán line, but you needed to have your own atmosphere as the reason for these suits. But what I really wanted to show you was this. If anybody can guess what this is, this was the main reason for the U-2s and the SR-71s. Yes, BT. It basically did a pattern like this, and the cameras were pointed that way, and everything it could take a photo of, it would be. Anyway, well, not anyway, I'm not trying to disregard what you're saying, but you're right. It would do it on the side. This is a camera, actually 3 of them. We got one pointed at this angle. You can see the lens down there. You got one pointed straight down, and you got one pointed at this. And while they were up there, they would take film that's that large. And as you can see, a a piece of film that's that long and that large, you can see a whole lot. Yeah. Yeah, so they never, like you said, they never actually flown into the Soviet Union. Thank you for correcting me that. It wasn't Russia. It was the Soviet Union. Let's be specific. And you can imagine, you could take a piece of that film and blow it up to that large from just a piece. And right here, you can get really close and personal with the microscope. So these two spy planes were basically flying cameras, which is cool. That big massive camera right there. The Model A2 camera set. And you can see them loaded into that Dragon lady. Now we are in the Cold War section of this wonderful museum. And I always like to start with everyone's favorite. Now, in recent news here, oh yes, yes sir, BT 2280, and in a while we're going to see something that they were really afraid of. I'm not going to give it away. You might not, you might know what it is. So yes, now this is one of my favorite parts. This J-58, a ramjet turbojet hybrid. Yo, hi, what's Samdet Boonden? How you doing? We're standing in front of the mighty SR-71. And like I mentioned, I didn't see this one. This is new here. This is a drone. I've never seen this before. But this was a failed project from the CIA. And what's crazy is when you're at this museum, you can casually stand underneath a B-2 Spirit. Now, a little bit of history on this B-2 Spirit is this never saw flight. This was a test module. As you can see, fire and ice. This was basically to test in structural integrity, as well as temperature extremes. And everybody that was a part of that test signed their name there. It is a real B-2 Spirit, but technically it's not. This B-2 was to test its structural integrity, because they actually put this underneath some pretty extreme tests to see how far it could go. You know, this has the delta wing. I mean, not the flying wing. And they actually broke this one, if you can see right here. This is where they reconnected it. They put stress on the wings to the point where they broke, and it broke right here. So these rivets right here are where they put it back together. so it could be shown in the the Air Museum. So this never had the engines in it, but it is built to the exact specifications of a B-2 Spirit that actually flew. Where is McDeal? Where is McDeal? Tampa. Okay, so you're down in Florida. I wasn't in the Air Force myself, but my dad was. I was born on the Air Force base, and I spent some time in Castle Air Force Base, which is closed down, unfortunately, and Tule or Air Force Base. Yo, Ruby, how you doing? How you doing? Thanks for hanging out. Now right here is cool. If you ever been to an air show, I'm pretty sure you've seen these. The F-16A Thunderbirds, located out of Nellis Air Force Base, out in Vegas. I lived out in Vegas for a very short while, and I had a temporary job out in the desert. And one day when I got off work and was driving home on the 15, I was lucky enough to see them practicing. But they're still going, and we're lucky enough to have one here right in Dayton, Ohio. Yo, Jesus Santana, how you doing? How you doing? Thanks for joining us. We're doing some plane spotting here at the Dayton Air Force Museum. Yeah, we want to give a big shout out to Major Jim Latham. Let's take a look at this cockpit. The mighty F-16. Woo! Look at this. Look at all these analog controls. I'm pretty sure they're updated to digital. I appreciate that. I appreciate the likes. The McDeal is CENTCOM. Shout out to McDeal. I appreciate the likes. I appreciate you hanging out. Plane spotting with us. We plane spotting today. Now this didn't have a yoke. This was the joystick. And you had the whole module. For the ejection. Yeah, that's out in Nellis Air Force Base. If you're ever in Vegas, if you can schedule up a visit to Nellis Air Force Base, it's pretty cool. This is an old one. Shout outs to Samantha. Shouts out to Nicole. A Super Saber. Don't get sucked in. One of the original OG Thunderbirds. Now this one, that's for mid-air refueling. Okay, what should we go look at next? Well, we looked at the Spirit. Let's go check out a bone. Oh yes, we got one of those here too. Yeah, the B2 Spirit was just in the news for doing a bombing campaign run, undetected. This is the back of the bone. We'll come back and take a look at this. We got the ladies of the Air Force. We got Mary Donahue. We got Kathleen Rambeau. We got Mary Livingston, Sandra Scott, Carol Shearer, Connie Angle, Kathy Lazaus, Christine Schott, Victoria Crawford, and Susan Rogers. We're standing underneath the wing, and we'll come back and look at this cockpit. But like I said, we got a bone. We got a bone to pick with you. Look at that swept wing. Can't really see it, but you can see wear marks where it goes in and out. These massive intakes. Joey 6905, how you doing? We got Boss Hog, the ninth Bomber Squadron, the B1B. Now we got a good view. The B1B Lancer. Yo, WDCAPL. How you doing in Poland? I hope everybody's doing well out there. I appreciate you hanging out. Joey 6906, yes it is. Look at this beauty. Look at those pedo tubes. It's something how those were so precise and they're very needed to fly this very unstable aircraft. Ruben, it is the Dayton Air Force Museum. We got some serious birds here. Yeah. Which one? Because we're gonna look at them all. We even got some Raytheon drones. We're gonna look at them all. I mean, you had to be extremely lucky to stand underneath one of these. And this cool thing, museum, if you have some special needs, if you are blind, you can feel this so you can get a feel of what the plane looks like through your fingers. And we got Braille, so we got you. Come on out. This, my friend, is the Boeing B-1B Lancer. Take a look at those technical notes. Yo, Carol Hellis, how you doing? Tony, how you doing?
They both control this. You guys are what they call co-pilots.
Oh, yeah.
We'll come back to that. That's the kiddie's favorite, sitting in that cockpit, getting ready. Yes, and here's more of that B-1 Lancer.
Can we only tell you something? This says that it goes in
Yo, shouts out to Kenya. I appreciate you hanging. We are in the United States, Dayton, Ohio, the Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, National Air Force Museum. Well, here we go. Can you imagine standing behind one of these right now? If it was on, you get your face blown off. A B2? MGM Gaming, yes. Yes, we just left from over there, but I can go back over there. Tunable exhaust. Yes. You would be instant charcoal and you would be blown all the way down the street. Okay. Let's go look at some of the older stuff. Zombie Alex, how you doing? Zombie Alex 129, how you doing? Well, maybe the babies are gone in that cockpit. Yes, oh, there we go. There's that B-2 Spirit. And like I mentioned before, this is an actual B-2 Spirit, but it never flew. This was just to test structural integrity. So they built a whole B-2 Spirit just to test it, just to break it, basically, because they did break it. Hey, I'm just getting over being sick a little bit. Hey, babies. All right, let's go back over here real quick. Like I said, this is the kiddie's favorite. This is the B-1B Lancer cockpit. Now, I can imagine now all these analog gauges have been upgraded to digital, or maybe not, I don't know. But this one has a center yoke. And as you can see, not much place to see out. But most of these were flown at night, and most of these are flown with radar. Yes, the stealth bomber. Recently in the news. I'll recap this real quick for everybody who just got in.
Aerial laser tag for 5K. That might be better value.
Like I said, this B2, they built it. It is a real one. It is not fake, but it was built for the exact purpose to be broken. This was taken to temperatures extremes, extreme cold to be tested, to extreme heat to be tested. And the structural integrity right here is where it was forced to its breaking point. And if you can see these rivets right here, these are not a part of the design of the aircraft. These rivets are where they put it back together after the wing was broken on purpose to see how much tensile strength that these big flying wings had. And you could see here, these are some of the things that they would have carried. Now this is one of the largest bombers produced by the USAF. It is a hybrid. This is the Corvair B-36 Peacemaker. Now you have to keep in mind, this is nuclear deterrence. This is a massive bird, so we're gonna have to take a walk around it. Now this was a part of SAC. If you know about the Strategic Air Command, most of the airplanes that we've talked about so far was in SAC, Strategic Air Command. Here's another one of those pedo tubes. Now this had a gun turret on it, but it was removed for weight because its operation was changed. Now I'm gonna go over here and show you this hybrid design, because this still had a prop. Now these had these can't go that way. These had these massive 3 turbo props on each side. And hold on a second here. You can see there's a observation bubble, and we'll come back. Like I said, I'm walking past some aircrafts, but we'll be back. We're still talking about the big old Peacemaker. Look at that tail gunner. We'll be back. Moshik B. I'm doing well. How you doing? How you doing? How you doing? Okay. All right, we're on the other side here. This Peacemaker was a hybrid because it all, aside from these turboprops, it also had an actual turbojet. Now this turbojet was to help take off and in any situations that were needed for this big bad boy to go faster. And we got the Pratt & Whitney R4360-41. One thing I like is engines, the evolution of these engines that is in there powering this massive nuclear deterrent aircraft, the B-36 Peacemaker. I think this was a 16-cylinder. So we're still on cylinders. We're still on cylinders at this point. And if you're talking about the Cold War, you cannot neglect espionage. Look at that little spy camera. Look at that little spy watch. Look at that. Oh, can't hardly see it. Let's see, better angle. We got body armor. We got your fake grooming kit, fake pencil set. Like I said, you cannot talk about the Cold War without espionage. Look at that. Powered by a 9-volt battery, listening device and recording. Yo, Zombie Alex, we are at the Dayton Air Force Museum. Come on out. The Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. It is absolutely free. That's one cool thing about it. You can bring a family of 20 and not have to worry about anything. Let's go talk about this one, since we're talking about the Cold War. Now, this was a type aircraft that had failed. So what they did was they gathered the parts and they put it close to an actual nuclear bomb. So this bad boy has actually been in a nuclear test. And I am kind of afraid to get close to it. I'm not even gonna lie. But I'm assuming that they took the test with this. Oh, no, Zombie Alex, you're gonna have to come over to the States for that one. We're not close to the England. But come on over. If you're ever over here, come on out to Dayton, Ohio, and look at all these beautiful birds. But I'm assuming they took the Geiger counter, and this has an acceptable amount of radiation. Because like I mentioned, they brought this out to the desert, and it was involved in an actual nuclear test. This right here is a Mark 6 nuclear bomb. Thankfully, it never had to be used. Because you can imagine this big bad boy dropping would not be a good day for the people that have been dropped on. And thankfully, it never had to happen that way. Give me a moment here, please. Let's set your dials down for a couple seconds. All right, I'm back. Oh, I appreciate it. Thank you, Zombie Alex 129. Now let's talk about Chuck's challenge. Now we had to have amphibious aircraft. We got the Grumman HU-16B Albatross. This was made to be landed on water. And you can see the model of the gentleman up there. If this was floating on water, there'd be no way that you could get up that way unless you hung out, literally hung out, to make any repairs or any just inspections needed. Now, we get into the super fortresses. We got the Boeing WBD Super Fortress. This was a part of nuclear deterrence.
Attention museum visitors, don't miss the giant screen Air Force Museum Digital Theater. Admission, schedule, and title information are available at the ticket booth near the main entrance. Limited seating is available.
Right here we have a Mark 7. They're getting smaller. Like I said, all these, thankfully, never were used. We got the Republic. You're gonna hear these names over and over again. A lot of these makers were the Thunderstreak. We got another Boeing Strato Freighter. Now this one's cool. This one, they took the outer skin off so you can see what's going on inside here. Lots of relays. Radios. Look at that radio right there. Yo, how you doing? SU, there is a SU somewhere. It might be over there. We'll go take a walk over there. They have one SU here for sure. Please hang out with me and we'll go over there and look. Now there would be ammo in there, and that's the twin cannons right there. Well, yeah, there it is. The M39 20mm guns right there on the side. We got more relays. We got an alternator or power inverter, 250 volt. We got some auxiliary oxygen tanks, and we even have air conditioning. And a target radio. This is a North American Sabre. Look at that. Imagine getting sucked into this. All right, let's take a moment to look at these ICBMs. A lot of these ICBMs have replaced We got the rocket to help it take off the ground. Then you have your jet engine on the inside to get it going. The Martin Mace nuclear deterrence. You can see it has a rocket for quick takeoff. There's actually several Soviet aircrafts in here. Now you can see this big bad boy. Look at here. It has 2 rockets for takeoff. So this bad boy is getting out in a hurry. Now this also was a part of, you could see that SAC, Strategic Air Command. But we're not done with this Peacemaker though. Like I said, it's huge. It's gonna take a little while to go through. Oh yes, you can take pictures, videos, whatever. You can even go on YouTube Live. You sure can. You can get as close as you can get. And some of them. This was another reconnaissance piece. Now let's take a look at this Bombay. Look at here. Massive, massive Bombay. Now if you see this tube right here, this wasn't pressurized. So if one of the crew or whoever the crew wanted to get from the back to the forward, they had to crawl on a creeper through this tube. I'm 6 foot tall, so gotta watch out a little bit. Army Navy fittings. And there's that crewman tube again. This part of the aircraft was not pressurized at altitude. So like I mentioned, they had to go Tom, I wish I could. I mean, Tony, sorry. Daniel Burnell, 2960, how you doing? Thanks for hanging out. My name is Michael. This channel is Detail in the Shadow. We are in the National Air Force Museum, taking a look at some cool birds. Now here's a piece of trivia for this Peacemaker. When they first made it, they used this tire, and then they replaced the single tire with 4. It was more stable and a little bit more efficient. So they went from that to this. And once again, we are in the Cold War section, so this is a Mark V. Black Cat, yo. Black Cat Salem, shout out. Love from America, love from Ohio. My name is Michael, this is Detail in the Shadow. What's up, Black Cat Salem? Now this massive boy, the Mark 17 thermonuclear. Now you saw how big they were. Now look how big this one is. This aircraft was designed to carry this because this aircraft was the only one that was big enough to carry this Mark 17 thermonuclear bomb. So things were hot and heavy. Now they just put this here, this Allison J-35. Yeah, this is brand new. This is an Air Force museum, but we are in the Cold War section. They have the early days, they have World War II, they have Korea, and we have space. We also have rockets. Excuse me.
You're fine.
We have so many airplanes, they're basically stuffed in here. We have the Mark 39 thermonuclear. The Mark 41. Yo, BT 2280. Here we go. This isn't a SU, this isn't a SU, but we got a MiG-19. You can tell the Soviet stuff because it looks so different. It looks so uncomfortable too. Yeah, like I said, they're so small and they look so uncomfortable too. In those days, you know, the Soviets were doing everything they could to keep up. And yes, that is the SR-71 for everybody who just showed up. We started the stream off with it. So we got a dragon lady up in the air. We got a McDonnell. Before it was McDonnell Douglas, it was just McDonnell. We got a F-101B. Now let's go look at a little bit of the Cold War stuff. F-106. Now, I was born in 1983. So, I was technically born at the tail end of the Cold War. And I can remember when Reagan made that speech. I was a little kid, but I was kind of a nerd at that time. Maybe still am. But I can remember all this stuff. The Berlin Wall. Now this little car is a Trabant 601 Deluxe. Can you imagine riding around in this? I think it had a little 30 horsepower lawnmower motor, basically. Hey, here's a real piece of the Berlin Wall. And the joy they had when they brought that down. And back in when they brought the wall down, like this was like the best you could do. Can you imagine having 4 people in this with just 30 horsepower? Like I mentioned, yes, we got Soviet aircraft here too. We got a MiG-23. So you can always tell the Soviet aircrafts, they always have a distinct look. And like I said, they always looked so uncomfortable. And they always had a distinct look. Had a little bit of tech in it, eh? Yeah, that MiG-19 looked like you were just sitting on top of an engine. It was like literally right in between your legs. All right, we'll come back to this because yes, here we go. Here we go. We'll be back. I want to show my man BT 2280 this. I know they have a Sioux. Here we go. Here we go. You asked for it. The Su-27UB Flanker C. Now, that one looks like it has a little bit more comfort. Looks like it doesn't look like you're jammed inside of a cockpit, basically riding on a jet yourself. Now, I hear these were pretty agile, and these were like one of the first time it got a little competition going. I'm gonna hide that one from y'all because I don't want y'all to see that one until we get to it. We'll be back. That's another fan favorite. The F-111 Aardvark, one of my favorites. But yeah, there's that Su-27. Looks so Soviet, doesn't it? It just looks Soviet. I tried to learn Russian, so I can't read that. I don't have their alphabet memorized. I mean, yeah, it is the Russian language. Yeah, I think I walked past that MiG. Like I said, I'm trying to keep that secret until we get over there. All right, here we go. The F-117 Nighthawk. Yo, Big Boatman 64. Saturn engine? I'm not sure what that was. I didn't see. Shouts out to Bill Cook. We got peak, stealth, well, as far as we know. As you can see, even the pedo tubes have angles. All these angles were meant to break up that radar. We have that grill for the intake. Oh, Black Fambra Bomb. Thank you. You know, if I had another phone, I would do that. But, yo, BT, you're welcome. Like I said, I knew that there was at least one SU here. Or Sue. MiG-25. Like I said, you're not going to look really... Yeah, they had that next to it because, you know, the Soviets were never really good at coming up with their own designs. But they were really good. Oh, okay, I'm assuming that this must come from Iraq. But they were really good at copying other designs. Now we got the gunships, and then we'll come over there to the Lockheed Spectre gunship. Now, this one we got a few Sikorskis, but if you're a plane head, you already know what this is. Basically the flying machine gun. The one and only A-10 Thunderbolt. Brat. You just gotta make the noise. You just gotta make the noise. Close air support. Right through them. Right through them. 1,300 plus rounds. Like I said, you just gotta make the noise. And they also carry a whole lot of other stuff. And this Warthog could get you back home with just one of those jets, because it has done it before. And it'll do it again. And we have our mighty helicopters. I need one of these. Yo, ATF, let me get one. Sikorsky. Sikorsky. This is some of the new GWAT stuff. Shout out to everybody on here. Thank you. Yeah, this is new. This is the new GWAT area. A very harsh reality. Yo, Danny, how you doing? Thanks for hanging out. We are in the Dayton Air Force Museum. We're doing some plane spotting. It had its ups and downs, you know. I recall hearing that it was a little bit more agile than some of the American stuff, but I mean, it's really hard to say. We had that Beretta with a spare magazine. Because that was just something about the Soviets that they just really, they always lagged behind. So Zombie Alex, I cannot really answer that because I'll be just blowing smoke, and I like to keep it as objective as possible. I know, like I said, it was very agile and very quick. Ask BT what his opinions are. Yeah, it's a lot of that's a lot. It's not the plane, it's the pilot. That's a lot of cases in a whole lot of things, you know. The Americans spend a lot of money in training. Disabling an IED. Shout outs to the brave folks who did this. Shout outs, thank you. Oh yeah, see, I said he probably had a lot more knowledge on it than I did. Doesn't even come close. There's that bone again. Now imagine one of these and you roll over a landmine. Now, let's talk about the Osprey. Let's talk about the Osprey. This is the Bell Boeing CV-22B Osprey, and they still are in service. Thanks for hanging out, Zombie Alex. I'll see ya. Check back, I might still be on. I'm gonna stay on as long as this Wi-Fi holds. Now these are because air helicopters have a limited speed, these Osprey they can change the rotor and then they can pick up a whole lot more speed than your typical helicopter. And these are good for aircraft carriers as well. You can see another thing of the GWAT era, dirt bikes. And this is made by Kawasaki. I have one of my friends, Willis Huff. We played on the baseball team together, but he was one grade above me. And rest his soul, we lost him in the GWAT era. Just want to say thank you, Willis Huff. You're a good person. All right, everybody, please listen to me. I am going to go to the next gallery. I am not leaving, and hopefully I do not lose signal. But if I do, I will be right back. Please subscribe to me. Go ahead, press that subscribe button. And if I do lose you, please come back, because I'm going to be right back. I'm not done. I got a battery bank. I got at least 4 hours. So here we go. Hopefully this Wi-Fi holds. I'm going to go to the Rocket Gallery. Please bear with me. I'm going to run through here. And but while we're running through here, we got an actual moon rock. Take a look at it.